Most people think their stress comes from their boss, their bills, or their busy schedule, but that is actually a lie. The truth is that your environment isn't the primary source of your exhaustion. The real conflict is happening entirely inside your own head. If you feel like you are constantly running a race, but never reaching the finish line, it is because you are fighting a battle in your mind that you haven't been trained to win. We spend so much time trying to fix our outside lives. We buy new organizers, we try new diets, or we look for new jobs, hoping that the next change will finally bring us peace. But have you ever noticed that no matter where you go, that heavy feeling in your chest follows you? That is because the noise isn't coming from the world around you. It is coming from the way your brain processes every single moment. In this video, we are going to break down why your mind feels like a battlefield and how you can use the Calm Pathway to finally find some quiet. We are going to look at why your brain is programmed to worry and give you the exact steps to flip the switch from panic to peace. Think about your brain like a giant control room. Every second, thousands of messages are flying across the screen. Experts say we have about 60,000 thoughts every single day. Now, imagine if 60,000 people were all shouting at you at once. You wouldn't be able to hear yourself think, right? That is what happens when we let our stress go unchecked. The problem is that most of these 60,000 thoughts aren't even true. They are just old memories, worries about things that haven't happened yet, or harsh criticisms we've picked up from other people. I want to tell you about a woman named Sarah. Sarah was a school teacher who loved her job, but every night when she went to bed, she felt like she was failing. She would lay there for hours thinking about one tiny comment a parent made, or worrying that she didn't prepare enough for the next day. Her body was in a comfortable bed, in a safe house, with nothing hurting her, but her mind was in a war zone. She was fighting a battle against what-ifs. This is the reality for so many of us. We are safe in the present moment, but our minds are stuck in a future that scares us, or a past that makes us feel guilty. The battle in the mind is so difficult because your brain doesn't know the difference between a thought and reality. If you imagine a giant, scary spider crawling on your arm right now, your heart rate will probably go up. There is no spider, but your brain reacts as if there is. When you worry about losing your job or failing a test, your brain releases stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. Your body gets ready to fight or run away from a physical monster. But there is no monster to fight. So all that nervous energy just sits inside you, making you feel shaky, tired, and overwhelmed. Why does our brain do this to us? It feels like our own minds are working against us, but there is actually a reason for it. We all have something called the amygdala. It is a tiny, almond-shaped part of the brain that acts like a smoke alarm. Thousands of years ago, this was the best tool we had. If a lion was hiding in the grass, the amygdala would scream danger, and we would run. Back then, most dangers were physical and immediate. The problem is that our brains haven't really updated their software in a long time. Today, we don't usually have to worry about lions, but we do worry about mean emails, traffic jams, and credit card debt. Your amygdala can't tell the difference between a lion and a rude text message. It treats both like a life or death situation. When you are stuck in traffic and you start to feel that heat rise in your neck, that is your caveman brain trying to save you from a tiger that isn't there. This creates a cycle of constant alertness. Because we are always on, we never get to rest. This is why you can sleep for 8 hours and still wake up feeling like you haven't slept at all. Your body was resting, but your mind was still on guard, pacing back and forth, looking for the next threat. To win this battle, we have to teach the brain that it is safe to turn the alarm off. So, how do we actually stop the fighting? We follow a process called the Calm Pathway. This isn't about clearing your mind completely. That's almost impossible. It's about changing your relationship with your thoughts. The first step is what I call the spotlight. Usually, when we have a stressful thought, we just become the thought. If the thought says, "I'm a failure," we feel like a failure. Using the spotlight means you step back and observe the thought. Instead of saying, I am stressed, you say, I am noticing a feeling of stress in my body. This small change in language is huge. It puts a little bit of space between you and the emotion. You are the person watching the movie, not the character in the movie. When you use the spotlight, you realize that thoughts are just like clouds passing in the sky. They come and they go, but the sky stays the same. The second step is the anchor. When the battle in your mind gets too loud, you need a way to pull yourself back to the ground. The easiest way to do this is through your senses. You can use the 5-4-3-2-1 technique. Find 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. This forces your brain to stop looking at the imaginary lions in your head and start looking at the real world around you. You can't be in a panic about next week while you are focused on the feeling of your feet against the floor right now. The third step is labeling. Give your inner critic a name. Maybe call it Worried Walter or Panic Patty. When that voice starts telling you that everything is going to go wrong, you can say, oh, there goes Walter again, doing his thing. This takes the power away from the thought. It makes it feel silly instead of scary. Humor is one of the fastest ways to shut down a stress response. You might be thinking, is it really that important to control my thoughts? Can't I just push through it? The truth is, the cost of losing the battle in your mind is very high. When we live in a state of constant mental war, our health starts to fade. Stress causes inflammation, it weakens your heart, and it makes your immune system slow down. But even more than that, it steals your life. Think about all the beautiful moments you have missed because you were stuck in your head. Maybe you were at a birthday party, but you were thinking about work. Maybe you were playing with your kids, but you were worrying about money. When we don't control the mind, we are never truly present for our own lives. We become like ghosts haunting our own houses. Winning this battle isn't just about feeling better. It's about actually being alive for the time you have. Remember, you are the boss of your brain. It might not feel like it right now because the habits of worry are so deep, but you can retrain your mind just like you can train a puppy. It takes time and it takes being gentle with yourself. If you have a bad day where the thoughts win, don't beat yourself up. That just adds more fuel to the fire. Just acknowledge it, take a deep breath, and step back onto the calm pathway. The peace you are looking for isn't at the end of a long journey. It is right here, underneath all that noise. The battle in the mind is won one breath at a time, one thought at a time, and one moment at a time. You have the strength to quiet the storm. You just have to remember that you are the one holding the remote control. Subscribe to the Calm Pathway channel right now so you don't miss the next video on how to master your mental health.